Well, I'm going to go ahead and lead us into our amazing presenter for today. We'll do a little bit of housekeeping. So I'm going to let Tamara introduce me officially tomorrow. I thought I'd better warn you. I'll make sure you have the bio to read. But I'll just give you the real quick version is my background's in integrative mental health. Actually, Tamara and I did an in-person event in 2014, I believe, with the integrative mental health title or concept, and it was memorable. I will never forget it. It was like there was so much went into that, but it was powerful. It was like it moved energy into the world in a big way. And so since then I've gotten, I have a bachelor, or sorry, a master's in psychology and a doctorate in natural medicine. So I went into official natural medicine a year later. I don't know if you know that, but yeah, it was like, that was a catalyst for a whole year of like, there's more in this integrative mental health thing. And if I want to claim it, that was what I ended up doing with Quantum University, actually. So that's just a little bit of me. Let's go over real quick the schedule for this week so that you don't miss anything. We're basically doing today, I'll introduce in just a minute, the science of multi-layered healing. Tomorrow, same time, I will be talking about frequency formulas, the quantum blueprint for wellness. So that's one of those things. I talk about quantum things because of my background with Quantum University, but it was inspired by Tamara and her book that we'll be talking about later today. So I will talk about these frequency tools, easy to utilize, simple ways to go beyond the boundaries of physical solutions into the information field of realignment. That's what we're talking about tomorrow. Okay. Friday, we are at the same time, Tamara and I are sharing the space to talk about the resilience revolution. Now, you've already put where you're from. I would love to hear your definition of resilience. So resilience is my word for 2026. And it took me a minute to realize the reason I wanted to call this conference resilience. So resilience is different than repair. I want you to think about that. Resilience is different than repair. And what we talk about a lot in our society and in our culture is fixing what's broken. What if it didn't break in the first place? That's my definition of resilience, right? And sometimes it is like there's a threat out there. And our resilience is what keeps it, it strengthens us, it prepares us, it elevates us to be more in control, I would say, of our experience, whether that's, and we're going to talk about the four bodies, whether that's physical experience, emotional experience, mental experience, or spiritual experience. So our resilience is our sense of empowerment. Okay, so so I want to hear from some of you if you have another way of defining resilience. I would love to hear. Okay, back to our schedule. And so on that day, we're going to be talking about shielding. So some of you may have heard the term of shielding, which is a protective paradigm, right? But you can not only just shield yourself, we're going to talk about how you can shield your loved ones. And I know, like, for me, like, that's what gets me. It's like, I want my people to be safe, right? And to be protected and be resilient. So we're going to talk about holistic strategies to do that using the four bodies model and the four layers that you're going to hear about today from Tamara. So we're going to talk about that, protecting and shielding energetically using quantum fields, mantras, vital body activation, and spiritual fortification. So those are some of the Friday tidbits. Okay. Saturday is the 3-hour immersion experience. So we're going to go into vital body resilience specifically there. And Tamara's going to talk about neurological integration as a source-driven solution. I'm going to bring Andrea Haynes with me to talk about 0-point Meridian, an evidence-based energy healing model. And then you're going to learn about spreading hope, making a multi-layered difference on a larger level. Well, first of all, it's a gift. We want to do this. And in fact, Tamara shared with me her number one reason for this when we looked at like our intentions is to bless lives. And I know that's her. Like that's totally her inside and out, right? Those of you who know her. And we want to make this available to people. And so we are making it free, and your replays are free. So it's not one of those where you have the upcharge or the extra to get the replays. So what we want to make sure you know is that those replays will be coming through your email, but there's another way to access them. Let me explain. Okay. So another thing to prepare for is a survey is going to come out on Saturday, and there's going to be an offer each day. Each of our presentations, we're going to have a prize attached to it. So that survey is what you'll fill out on Saturday to get in the drawing for all the prizes. Okay. We thought about doing a prize or a survey every day and a prize every day, but we're going to keep it simple. So you'll just have one survey to fill out and you'll get in for all the prizes. And those winners are going to be announced a week from today on January 14th at 10 a.m. So you're going to start at 10 a.m. Mountain Time on Saturday. And just keep in mind that you got till Tuesday at 10 a.m. to turn in your surveys. And then we're going to announce the winners Wednesday, 10 a.m. So that day, we're going to have a bonus interactive experience. I'll have Tamara here. We're going to have Tamara, myself, and Andrea Haynes are all going to be here. And we're going to take it all, bring it all together and remind you. It's kind of like if you've been in school, one of the tricks for retaining information is to have a review, right? You go back, you do your homework, you do your review. This will be the way you retain the information, and it'll be the review and also the applying it to your life kind of session. So I think it'll be really valuable. So that we hope you'll attend. And so there's a couple of asks we have of you because we want to make this available, but this is the win-win is please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's at Wholeness. The subscriptions matter. In fact, I want to be able to announce how our subscriptions go up over the next few days. And it's fun to see that. So that's how we boost our visibility and get more of this information to others is by having more subscribers. You've probably heard it before. All right. Number 2 is filling out the survey by next Tuesday. It'll be available Saturday after the last session. And it'll just take a few minutes, but it really gives us some good information, allows us to make this even better as we go forward. And then 3, you can share this opportunity with others. Let's go ahead and put Tamara's link in here. So you can copy and paste it and just, send it along to anybody who you think might really benefit from this. And that it's not too late to join. Like they can, still register and get the replays and join tomorrow and all the other days. So we would love for you to get it out there to others. So we will be also sharing a product or service each day that you're invited to consider. And that is also how we cover our time and efforts. And then we also have Spreading Hope that helps make this possible. And so Spreading Hope, we're going to explain at the it is a nonprofit. It's literally launching this week. So its official first week is, it was kind of put in place in November, but it takes time for all the legal stuff to go through and all that fun stuff. And so it's going live this week. So it's kind of exciting. It'll be a little debut on Saturday. Now, are we ready? We're going to introduce Tamara. Tamara Laing is a passionate master rapid eye technician and certified 0-point Meridian practitioner whose heart and soul radiate healing energy. With 3 inspiring books to her name, including the bestseller Healing Arts, A Gift from God, Tamara beautifully weaves together the wisdom of prophets and scientists, illuminating the miraculous truths found in energy medicine. Tamara has become a highly sought-after presenter at holistic events, captivating audiences with her warmth and insight. A relentless seeker of truth, she attributes quantum technology as an incredible expression of the universal life-giving force that connects us all. So we are going to join Tamara on this path of healing and discover profound solutions that are available to all of us seekers as she goes through the science of multi-layered healing.
All right, very good. Today I'll be presenting on the science of multi-layered healing. Did I mention, Christine asks in her book, that the disease model of Western medicine is not really working? All right. Dr. Northrup says, we have looked at the body like a bag of organs and bones. We have a medical system based on drugs and surgery that doesn't usually become meaningfully involved until after a person is already sick. We're like a river patrol that sends power boats out into the rapids to rescue people who are drowning, rather than going upstream and figuring out how to keep them from falling into the rapids in the first place. I love that. So Christine wrote in her book, Four Bodies, Four Medicines, did I mention that the disease model aspect of Western medicine is not really working? They are covering symptoms rather than addressing the root cause. Well, today I'm going to introduce you to someone else who believes like Christy does. Dr. Dietrich Klinghardt has created a model of medicine addressing the true cause of disease. We're dynamic, creative beings who require an individualized approach to healing. Maybe you saw the movie What the Bleep? It was a pioneer. It was a doorway, a validation into the world of quantum solutions. It featured a man named Amit Goswami, also known as the Quantum Doctor. And Christy explains he was brought into Quantum University as a leading professor, and it was from him that she learned about multidimensional bodies and quantum medicine. And she says, my intention for this book is to support the importance of spirituality as an aspect of medicine, as the crux of healing. When I read this in your book, Christy, I got truth bumps all over my body. Oh my goodness, that was a powerful moment for me to read that. I love how Dr. Lucky, an MD, actually says, you have to realize that there are different levels to the spirit, and each of these has its own needs and treatments. So I'm going to share an incident with you. This is kind of old science, but it's still interesting. Dr. Joey Jones of the University of California at Irvine proved the existence and the effects of subtle energy on and in the human body. Using one of the most sophisticated scientific tools of that day, the MRI, Dr. Jones found that when the acupuncture point of the toe, known to influence vision, is stimulated, a subtle energy signal is sent to the visual cortex of the brain. And there's more. That signal from the toe to the brain travels 1,000 times faster than a signal sent through the eyes to the brain. Dr. Jones concluded that the information received along acupuncture meridians registers in the brain outside of the physical nerves of the body. So there's something else to us. In a few decades, scientists went from a conviction that there's no such thing as an energy field around the human body to a certainty that such fields exist and are medically important. In fact, William Tiller and Dr. Dibble say, interestingly, we now know that the body heals through frequency, vibration, and resonance, and it's communicated through light. You're going to see us talking about light a lot today. You do not exist through biochemistry alone. What we deal with in health and physics, or health and illness, is physics. Your body creates energy fields and light emissions that are in the quantum range. Your energy body helps regulate your physical body. So here's a quantum physicist and what he says about that. The bioenergetic field is, in scientific terms, an information flow on the quantum level. Okay. For some of you who this is all new information for, you might want to read this book, The Spiritual Physics of Light. He shows in there how it's been scientifically proven that everything emits light at all times. And it's a great introduction to my first book that I wrote. Packets of information are carried by light waves to your smartphone. More generally, anytime information, data, voice, video, and so forth is sent or received without wires, light is being used as the medium to transmit the information from the sender to the receiver. So great progress has been made. Here, let me get this. By Russian and German researchers in recent years to examine the physical aspects of biophotons, light, in humans. Biophysical light interacts with information. This can be seen as a foundation for a medicine of light. How do you like that term? If you like that term for the field that a lot of us work in, say so in the chat. So today I'm going to be teaching you about multi-layered healing. Here's some examples on different levels from Christine in her book that align with the 4 different levels we're going to talk about today. Dr. Klinghardt has a similar chart, and he says this is a metaphysical translation of actually quantum physics. Fascinating. I believe it was from you, Christine, that I learned that in the West, doctors and researchers learn by dissecting cadavers, but in the East, people learn and work with living energies. That's a huge difference. And when we glean the truth from both fields, we can have the best of both worlds. So today I'm going to introduce you to the 5 levels of healing by Dr. Klinghardt. Who is he anyway? He stands as a pioneer, combining conventional medical knowledge with alternative therapies to treat chronic illnesses. His approach understands the multifaceted cause of diseases. He's from Germany. He was taught herbal medicine and homeopathy and acupuncture during med school over there. He's world-renowned. That's how I found him. My son had Lyme disease, and I learned that he was a world-renowned doctor helping clients with Lyme disease. His groundbreaking work spans neurological diseases, Lyme disease, autism, chronic pain, and more, including environmental toxins, infections, electromagnetic exposure, and psychological trauma. He really covers a wide range, doesn't he? So you can read his 7-page paper. It's online if you'd like to look that up. And he explains his 5 levels of healing. Every ancient culture knows this system and has described it in different terms, he says. I really like that. Truth is all around the world. And he says, our patients need care on all levels of their existence. It works. People really can recover from their chronic illness, but patients have to shift their way of being in the world on a deep level. So what does he mean by that? We have to shift our way of being? Your physical body, he says, is surrounded and penetrated by 4 other invisible bodies. We exist in different dimensions simultaneously. The physical body exists within a sphere of invisible etheric bodies that each have their own anatomy and physiology. So here's a little chart of his. And his healing philosophy recognizes that illness is rarely isolated to the physical body alone. There's more to us than just our physical. Here's one scripture I have to share with you today. There's no such thing as immaterial matter. All spirit is matter, but it is more fine or pure and can only be discerned by pure eyes. We cannot see it, but when our bodies are purified, we shall see that it is all matter. Okay, now I have a video to show you.
While you're doing that, I have to call out the scripture you just shared.
Sure.
My grandfather's favorite. He was an engineer, and he's known on his deathbed, he requested a book on quantum physics because he was starting to go in and out through dimensions, right? And that's part of the reason I went into Quantum University is his influence. But thank you for sharing this. And then yeah, you can do larger screen.
Is developed by Dr. Dietrich Klinghardt, MD, in the 1980s, based on a study of Eastern and Western medicine. A summary of what it means. We are made up of not just the physical body, but also a combination of invisible bodies, some of which can be measured with devices that are sensitive enough to pick them up. Besides the physical bodies, we're made up of the emotional body, the mental body, intuitive body, and the spiritual body. Each level influences the other levels. There are descending influences where a trauma in a higher level causes problems in the lower levels. Healing by a practitioner on a higher level can penetrate downwards, but not upwards. Hence, providing minerals, level 1, cannot change a belief, level 3. A healing intervention, therefore, must be either on the level where the illness was created, or on a higher level. Each level can have blockages that prevent healing impulses from the higher levels to reach the physical body. So it is also necessary to work on the lower levels. The physical body is therefore the sum total of what is happening in the other invisible bodies. A trauma happens with the grandparents, for example, experiencing World War II, which is in the 4th level, can predispose a child of that family to have certain thinking patterns in the third level, which will then create an emotional response in the second level, ultimately affecting the nervous system and leading to pathology in the physical body in the first level. For true healing to take place, healing must be undertaken on all the levels. That is what we do in our work.
All right, so to sum up, health and illness are a reflection of the state of these 5 levels. Any health problem can originate on any of the 5 levels. An imbalance on one level, if untreated, spreads upward or downward to the other levels. Unless upper level imbalances are addressed, restoring balance at the lower levels will not produce long-lasting effects. Therapeutic intervention at the lower levels has a very slow and little penetrating effect upwards. But if you do an intervention on the 3rd or 4th level, it can correct the block on the 2nd level immediately, within seconds or minutes, Dr. Klinghardt notes. Wonderful, and that's what we see. A healing intervention must be either on the level where the illness was created or on one of the levels above. If the practitioner has no tools on the higher levels, he or she will not succeed with many clients. Each level can have blockages which prevent healing impulses from the higher levels to reach the physical world. So it's an incorrect or a wrong assumption that if someone has back pain, that it's just the pressure of the disc on a nerve. And when you remove the disc, everything will be fine. No, because most chronic illness has components that go all the way up to the 4th level. I've really got to get everybody not blocking my words here. I'm seeing all of you, which is nice, but then I can't see what I'm... Okay, here we go.
You can do speaker view.
Oh, like moving y'all around, but... Okay, so Dr. Klinghardt says, we can affect healing on many levels. I hope this chart is valuable in understanding what holistic medicine is. It is kind of a roadmap of healing techniques. And really, for me in my life, where I've been with 2 children with chronic illnesses, this is a map of resilience. Christine's book lays out a map of resilience for us. Okay, so let's talk about this first level. It's the physical level. Dr. Klinghardt, I'm going to go through all of these 7 primary factors, he says, contribute to nervous system dysfunction and chronic disease, and we're going to go through all 4 levels. So on this level, you have chronic infections that produce harmful toxins that you got to deal with. And then there's structure that impacts your brain function, you know, dental or muscles or whatever. There's also micronutrient deficiencies. He says functional medicine is nice and good, but it's not complete. You've got to look at other things as well. He does a diet based on a scan. Of course, he says exercise, balance your hormones, do a heavy metal detox, supplement missing minerals. And he does one-on-one treatment. So he finds out what is specific for you. If you want more science on things like kinesiology and how he's taken that way beyond just regular kinesiology and has the science for it, you'll want to go listen to this podcast by Dr. Michelle Berkland, where she interviews him. Fascinating. All right, on the 2nd level, it's the vital energy level in Christine's book. The 2nd level is the energy body, or body electric, he says. Each cell emits biophotons, light which is highly coherent, polarized, and squeezed. The biophoton field, created by the light emissions around the body, regulates most metabolic enzymes inside the cells. It's doing so much. Your biophoton field is part of the electromagnetic system around your body. Your brain is but a receiver that tunes into the memory storage in this field. Emotions that we have not faced, accepted, nor dealt with are stored as repressed emotional energy here. And emotions correlate to this 2nd level. In this millennium, emotion is also known as emotion, or energy in motion. And Christine lists some doctors who are professionals who understand this. He says, pump as much energy as possible into the lower 3 levels, eat right, sleep right, exercise and take your vitamins, and nurture your body electric with massage, acupuncture, neurotherapy, lying down by a waterfall. We're going to show you how you can do that for 18 hours straight, no matter where you live. On, so what day is that? Friday, maybe?
On Friday.
Listening to music, Friday, good, and doing yoga. Okay, now here's where he tells you these are issues you might not be thinking about on the 2nd level. There are interference fields. Surgical scars disrupt nervous system signaling. And there's electromagnetic fields, Wi-Fi, 5G, and electrical pollution that cause cellular distress. So he suggests acupuncture, neural therapy, and unplugging from electronic devices at night are suggested for level 2. While the 5 layers of healing were designed as a tool for integrative medicine practitioners, many of the treatments involve self-care that you can try yourself. So do you know what he tells a lot of Lyme patients? He says, every night before you go to sleep, go turn off that circuit breaker to your bedroom as a way to cut off all of that EMF interference, Wi-Fi, 5G, all of that. Very interesting. That doesn't cost anything. It's good to know. He explains, if a person has a zinc deficiency, supplementing with zinc may correct the problem if it's merely a biochemical disturbance on the first level. But if your restriction of blood flow to the brain is as a result of sleeping too close to an electrical outlet, that's a second level issue. If that's behind the deficiency, taking zinc may seem to solve the problem, but it will return when the person stops taking the supplement. Just moving the bed away from the outlet will stop the electromagnetic interference and prevent the recurrence of a zinc deficiency. Now there's something new to think about. So now let's move up to level 3. This is where things really get interesting. If you're new, maybe put on your seatbelt because we're going to talk about some stuff maybe you've never heard of before. The mental body is explored through positive psychology and mental health. Level 3, Dr. Klinghardt calls this the mental body or mental field. Beliefs, attitudes, and thoughts form and organize this level. The problems you might run into here, unresolved emotional trauma weakens vitality. So he says work with therapists for unresolved conflicts on the mental level, and he lists some ideas there for you. And he explains memory, thinking, and the mind are all phenomena outside the physical body. They're not happening in the brain. The mental part of your body is an energetic field. According to Dr. Klinghardt, our bodies make visible what is happening at the soul level. If we have emotional trauma or experience something in the past that changed our inner lives, it will eventually manifest itself as physical impairment or pain. When emotional healing takes place, it has a positive effect on our physical selves too. I've seen that so many times. This is an interesting story. Dr. Lucky tells us in his book, Unleashing the Healing Miracle Within. He talks about this woman who came in to see him, and her 2-year-old son was not speaking, and she blamed herself for him not talking. So Dr. Lucky says to her, well, first, let's get rid of that belief, which is not yours anyway. She cleared the belief and nothing seemed to really change. But as we were ending the visit, she mentioned seeing a chiropractor who found scoliosis. He had treated her but did not see much results. I just ran my finger down her back to the L4-5 area and she told me she felt her back move. We photographed her back and showed it to her. She stated it had not previously been like that. So what happened? How was the back aligned? When she got over blaming herself for her son's delayed speech development, her back not only resolved, but her son also began talking, even though he was at home over 200 miles away. We see here that beliefs that are not serving us can hinder other people in our lives. Once we release the false belief, then miracles can take place in others and us that had been in bondage to our false beliefs. Wow. So Dr. K, I'll call him, explains, if you actually find the origin of the illness and intervene on that level, you succeed in that the illness goes away. This doctor gave a testimonial and he said, I was trained at some of the best schools and yet wasn't able to get far with some people, particularly those with trauma and addictions. And then I started using energy psychology. I made more progress with patients in a session or two than I had in several years of treating them. It blew me away. And you probably know, yes, this field is real. Here are some different examples on this level, and we will be talking about a lot of this in our online conference here. Emerging science is exploring the effect of intention on the body's release of biophotons, these light tiny bits of light that come from people. These photons have been found to carry information from cell to cell and into our DNA and can be manipulated by intention. So if you'd like science on this, ASAP has great science on their website. Energy psychology is both evidence-based and in the top 10% in terms of published research for psychotherapy modalities. Don't let anyone tell you there's no science for this field. And it seems to me Marcus Schmika is kind of a little maybe upset that he's having to defend our field, he says. And he's the inventor of Healy and the time waver that works around the world, long distance with people. And he says, the concept of a field of information has a solid scientific basis as the next step beyond the limited and naive belief that physical nature is purely ruled by random processes and that consciousness is not a fundamental ontic reality that has no effect on matter. The very concept of a quantum theory and the experiments of Pear Lab actually defeat this unsophisticated, mechanistic worldview. So there's some great science for you, people who want science. Oh, here's another great story for you. This daughter brought her dad to see Dr. Lucky. To see Dr. Klinghardt. And he was a patient with Alzheimer's, and he'd already lost 40% of his brain. He hadn't spoken in 8 years. So this daughter asked Dr. Klinghardt if he would please put her dad under hypnosis. And he did. And for 2 hours, though this man had not spoken in 8 years, for 2 hours, he was awake and speaking and talking about his life, and everything he said was true. They were just, amazed that this could even happen. And you realize the part of his brain that is made for speaking wasn't even there. So Dr. Klinghardt theorized, well, he's accessing something out here in the mental field then. And he was really good friends with Fritz Albert Popp, who discovered biophotons. God is so good. He's so good. What a tender mercy to get those two together. That's just amazing. You are surrounded by a highly structured light field, which is the carrier of long-term memory. Fascinating story. Sheldrake talks about there's an individual mental field and a consensus field. And he's called that level the morphic field. Every idea or thought ever goes into this field and becomes part of an invisible library that can be accessed by anyone. All right, so now we're to the fourth level. This is associated with consciousness and top-down factors. So Christine talks in her book how she says, I began to make changes to my quantum body with a quantum biofeedback system designed to make changes within the information field using frequency technology. I used it with myself and clients to identify the root cause of issues and to correct the misaligned frequencies. Well, I love this because when my son was so sick in the medical field, had no idea what was going on, a neighbor suggested I take him for an Asira scan. They don't use that name anymore. They're called Quest now, I guess. But there are devices out there. We love the Zytoscan medical elite level. These can read the frequencies, find out what's going wrong. It saw that my son had Lyme frequencies in him. That's how we find out my son had Lyme disease, because the medical field didn't know what to do. People don't even realize this technology exists. It's wonderful. The fourth level, Dr. K says, is a level beyond mind and beyond language. I call this level the dream body or intuitive body. And of course, we've combined his fourth and fifth level just to simplify and put it all in this fourth level and call it a spiritual level. He says, this level is the home of near-death experiences, spirit possession, karma, and the expression of unresolved transgenerational family issues. Across generations, there are issues that get passed down. So the problems that you'll encounter on this level are family lineage trauma and unseen spiritual forces that impact health. So wonderful to have MDs who understand the whole picture. You could check out my website, langbooks.com, if you want to read up some papers about that subject there. So he explains, unresolved trauma does not appear to go away with death, but plays out in a variety of ways in later generations. Often unresolved trauma from previous generations becomes the source and the causative event of illness in later generations. Most people overlook this and can never help their patients. Unless upper level imbalances are addressed, restoring balance at the lower levels will not produce long-lasting effects. People try to treat them psychologically on the third level, and it cannot work. This is not the right level. Similarly, focusing on the biochemistry is not going to fix the problem when the source is at the fourth level. So his suggestion is don't rest until there's love and respect between everybody in your generation and the 2 generations before you. So when my son had Lyme disease, I had to realize we couldn't just solve issues on the physical level only. We needed to go up and we need to do these other level processes also. And my son loves generational healing. He's always asking me, Mom, can we do a deep emotion release for generational clearing? It makes a difference, even physically. He loves it. Okay, so Dr. Klinghardt says, create time and space to be alone on the spiritual level. Turn upwards and inwards with an attitude of gratefulness. Laws operative here are gradually revealed to us as we mature. And I love what these people say in their book. Energy comes from God. We don't create it. We just tap into it and don't actually deal with disease. That is the realm of doctors. We deal with energy and spirit, which is to say consciousness. And I love how Christine adds in her book, when you understand what that consciousness comes from and what it's about, it's consciousness with a capital C, because you realize it comes from God. This is what I believe, same as Grant Bishop. Christ gave us physical life because his light is the life force throughout the universe. Perhaps by discovering the universal connectedness of subatomic elements, scientists discovered the spiritual portion of our universe. Just a quote from my first book. Now, this one didn't make my first book, so this was probably new to you. I love this. A prophet is said to have taught that light and life and spirit are one. Not in the sense that they are simply different terms for the same thing, but they are inseparably related. Ooh, I love that. Now, here's another doctor who validates Christine's point of view and Dr. Klinghardt's point of view. Dr. West said, working with scientists in laboratories in New Mexico, it became clear that the longer the wavelength, the more powerful it is. The longest wavelength measurable is called the boson. 0 point is at the top of the pyramid, showing the descending order of power all the way down to the structural level. Christine calls that a top-down approach. This illustrates why therapies using the waves that they measured, using the waves higher up the pyramid, like energy work, prayer, sound healing, so often produce results superior to those at the bottom of the pyramid, where surgery and biochemical therapies reside, where most people run to, the bottom level for help. But I love that Dr. Sandra Rose Michael explains what we can do to affect that very highest thing they measured. The highest thing they could measure was the boson. But 0 point is the most powerful thing of all, I point out in my first book and my second book with these charts. So she's showing that if you use scalar technology, it creates a 0 point field and you can affect things from that level. Isn't that amazing? I want to go to the most powerful level if I'm working on an issue for my loved one, right? Or myself. So healing technology systems are emerging that can generate scalar waves to intelligently interface with one's living biointeractive fields. The EES was invented by world-renowned biophysicist Dr. Sandra Rose Michael, and it emits bioscalar energy fields which support the repair of DNA and, as a result, the health of the body and the mind, both physical and mental. NASA found that technology was repairing all the breaks in the DNA, the genetic damage, and lengthening the telomeres. What radiation does is unzip the DNA. Unified fields puts it back together. That's why I'm so excited about scalar waves that are unified. It's not the technology that heals you, says Dr. Sandra Rose Michael. It creates an environment for your body to heal itself. So talk about quantum level healing. All you do is walk into this room full of hyper healthy photons and lay down and have a nap. Nothing touches you. This is quantum level stuff. I love that they interviewed her and they asked her, how does this work? She said, it's activating the light at the core of the DNA, the light within us. We are bodies of light. It is about that embodiment of our light, and that's what heals us. It's your light force energy or life force energy. It's your energy production in the cells. The body has the energy to heal. Fascinating technology. And then she says something that just makes me smile. We make no medical claims. The power that made the body heals the body. It's a hyper healthy, energetic environment that we've made. It is spiritual science. Well, I think the other portable device is the same type of thing, because look what the scientists around the world say about it. They call it the wave of life. What comes out of it? They call it the light of life, God's wave band. Fascinating to hear that coming from scientists, but that really caught my attention after writing a book on the light of Christ. So that caught my attention, and I find out, oh, this portable scalar device, it goes 8 to 11 inches inside of us. It can reach our bone marrow, activates stem cells. It finds and eliminates bad cells, finds and protects good cells. Here's a doctor at a private, retired doctor from a private hospital in Malaysia, and he's talking about how it can penetrate, 8 to 11 inches, reaching the bone marrow, micro blood vessels and capillaries. It enhances microcirculation, eliminates water retention, a whole list of things he shares. It strengthens healthy cells, repairs damaged cells, thus expelling and liquefying unhealthy cells. It unblocks passages, he says, vessels, and also does detoxification. Wow, the company can't say these things, but you can listen to what doctors say about it. Dr. Cochran says, I've been practicing medicine 43 years, and I've never seen people change so fast until I started using the IteraCare wand. Dr. Mehmet Oz evidently said something like, there's a revolutionary cure for pain that few doctors know about because it's not a new pill or surgery. Energy waves that change the way your body copes with pain. So if you'd like to hear some testimonials, not from me, you can go to Linktree there and listen to what other people say about it. Thomas Lucky MD explains, so you can also use this portable scalar device to put those waves and frequencies in water. You just do it right through glass or ceramic, I found out, glass or ceramic. And what the water molecule does is it allows cells to take nutrients in and get rid of toxins. So it allows what is abnormal to become normal. Here's a picture of my cute dad. And he said, my energy level has increased. My mind is a lot clearer. No mixed up feelings, just from drinking the structured water. The water has done such a wonder on me. I could tell you so many stories. Let's see, I have a few minutes. One night, my daughter was saved from going to the emergency room because of the IteraCare portable scalar device. She had lost feeling on the left side of her body. She had hives. She was wondering if she needed to stab herself with the EpiPen, which means you would have to go to the ER after that. She was close by my house, so she called to see if I was home. I said, yeah, come on over. And so we blew on the left side of her body. Well, first we had her drink the water. Then we blew on the left side of her body for about 15 minutes. Do you know what? She started feeling the left side of her body again. The hives went away. Her heart rate that was out of control all calmed down. I said to her, you know what, daughter? That device just paid for itself in one use. It saved you an ER visit bill. Another thing that it's helped us with, detox. Oh, the very first week I had my device, I could see that it was helping me to detox. It's helped my daughter with mental health. Instead of having mood swings like this, her mood swings, even through terrible, last 2 years have had a lot of emotional ups and downs, but her moods have been just fine. I am so grateful for this device and that it helps both physically and mentally. My husband, I noticed he was getting some bags under his eyes. I said, honey, you probably should wand on your eyes for a while. So he was doing that, and he happened to go to the eye doctor, and the eye doctor told him, you know what, your vision has improved. That was something we weren't even counting on. That was an added thing, an added blessing. Another woman that bought a wand from me, she's no longer taking insulin or her oral medication. Testimonials are across the board. Dr. Thomas Lucky says, if this was a medical device, it would be about $5 million. Well, I'm grateful that is not an actual medical device. It's a household device, and it's more affordable. Dr. Lucky says, I have a list of 100 people this machine has eradicated their need for any kind of medication at all. And all it is we're light. We're absorbing light. We're emitting light. So I've taught you today, at the quantum level, there's an amazing efficiency, synchronicity, and community. It's a top-down approach. So it leads back to the body, back to the physical. A divine design works that way. Biophysical light interacts with information. This can be seen as a foundation for a medicine of light. I've taught you today about a lot of different medicine of light. And then finally, Thomas Lucky says, the average person needs to know about what they can do for their family. You may not find it in the medical world anymore. There's so many ulterior motives present. When you can use simple tools that we use every day in our office, remember he's an MD, to see amazing results. You know you can take care of your whole family. Then you can pass it down to the next generation and maybe retake the healthcare industry for ourselves again. Itera Care, enabling you to put the power of healing into your own hands naturally. If you would like more information, I do need to say I'm an independent business owner for Prife. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. If you'd like more information about this, solutions to healing include both the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies. You can read Christine's book, 4 Bodies, 4 Medicines. Healing is multi-layered. All these different levels. To me, that is a pattern of resilience when you're in a hard place and you need answers. Quantum medicine goes well beyond this dimension. It can heal the mental body, the vital body, and the physical body, based on what Amit Goswami describes as a top-down rather than a bottom-up view of the universe. Healing can happen from higher dimensions to lower dimensions. I've taught you today, you have to realize there are different levels to the spirit, and each of these has its own needs and treatments. If you'd like to learn more about how this can fit with Christian belief, Chi and chakras are for Christians. You can learn about that in my first book that is a bestseller, Healing Arts, A Gift from God. I sell that on my website, langbooks.com, and Lang has an I in it. I also have courses and my Prife devices on there. All of that can be accessed from langbooks.com. And that's what I have for you today. Thanks for listening.
It was so good. I always learn more stuff from presentations I think I may have heard before, but you put so much work into these. Thank you so much. I know you love us because you really put so much in. I love it. We love you back.
No,
we all say, yeah, let's put some love in the chat for Tamara. And yes, we were very patient, for you to figure. Thank you for doing online stuff, because I know you show up in places too. So yeah. So let me just kind of wrapping up, remind us of tomorrow at noon. We'll see you back for more good stuff. And today's prize is a copy of my book. So this is 10 Ways to Balance Your Brain Chemistry. The bonus book in it is it's a physical copy of 4 Bodies, 4 Medicines. So when Tamara mentioned my book, I think she's mostly referring to 4 Bodies, 4 Medicines. I'm going to challenge myself to get it on audio and actually make a YouTube of the book so people can just watch that. Isn't that awesome? So that will happen by next week. Watch for it. By next Wednesday, we will have it as a super bonus at the end. You also have a PDF of that in your welcome emails. You should have gotten that yesterday. So if you want to look through it, and just kind of it's like a 30-page version of information with the 4 bodies. And so we're going to be kind of exploring that more throughout this week. And Tamara and I are both going to be tackling some of those solutions and understanding, the layers better. So I think it's going to be awesome. All right. In our final minute, you guys can go off mute and just let's do some verbal thank yous and cheers. And we love yous. I think that'll be fun.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Love
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much.
Oh, thank you all for being here. We have a good turnout.